Magandang gabi po mga katipon sa Pilipinas. Ito po ang ating Katipunan, muling sumasa inyo mga tagapakinig upang magbigay ng mahahalagang impormasyon, magbigay liwanag at higit sa lahat ay makinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro hinggil sa mga problemang patuloy na nagpapahirap sa ating kalagayan at kabuhayan. Sa susunod na oras, sisikapin po naming ipaliwanag ang iba't ibang bahagi ng ekonomiya at mga mabibigat na local at international issues na may malaking epekto sa ating buhay at kinabukasan. Sa ngalan po ni Naitos Valdes at ang yumaong tunay na bida ng palatuntunang ito na si Professor Butch Valdes, Cathy Cruz po, ang inyong makakasama ngayon sa loob ng 2 oras. Kasama pa rin ang iba pa nating mga katipon mula sa Philippine LaRouche Society, Save the Nation Movement, at Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, gayon din ang mga kasama natin sa pamamagitan ng Zoom na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makibahagi sa ating talakayan sa mga pagsusuri ng mga kasulukuyang problema at paghahanap ng kaukulang solusyon. Sa mga nais po na makibahagi sa ating talakayan, mag-iwan lamang po kayo ng mensahe sa social media account ng Katipunan Channel. I-type nyo lamang po sa URL ang Partido KDP. And also, if you want to know more about international news na walang slant o anggulo po ng mga balita, check out ang LaRoucheCat.com o LaRouchePub.com at bisitahin nyo rin po ang LaRoucheField.com. Kayo naman po ay nakikinig siyempre sa pamagitan po ng RMN DZXL 558 po sa talapitan po ng inyong mga radyo, yan sa pamagitan po ng AM band. At siguro maganda pabatiin po muna natin si Johnny Ventosa na kasama po natin sa Zoom. Magandang gabi po sa inyo, Johnny.
Hi, hello. Good evening. Yes.
Magandang gabi, Sir Johnny, at maraming salamat at kasama ka namin ngayon sa pamamagitan ng Zoom.
You know, I missed you had none last week, no?
Opo, naka-replay po kami last week.
Yeah. And then the week before that?
So, naka-replay din po kami.
Yeah, I missed one so badly. And that's the one, never mind. But I missed that. So I'm glad you're on again, no?
Opo.
And I'm glad Itos is taking over.
Yes, opo.
And well, I'm glad and grateful because we really need him, just like we needed his father.
Opo. Tama po kayo, Sir Johnny. Actually, dapat po kasama namin ngayon si Itos. Pero sabi nga po niya, hindi pa niya kaya na mag-on air, no? So bigyan lang po natin siya ng sapat na panahon para po muling bumalik sa ating pong palatuntunan. And rest assured na yun naman po actually yun po yung dahilan kung mapapansin po ng ating mga tagapanood o mga tagapakinig po, mga taga-subaybay po ng ating Katipunan. After during the pandemic, no, na medyo hindi po ako sumisingkaw, ang naging kasama po ni Professor Butch ay yung panganay po niyang anak na si Itos Valdes. At actually, kung meron pong pwedeng sumunod sa yapak, no, sa yapak po ni Professor Butch ay yung kanyang panganay na anak. Considering that si Itos Valdes po ay isang LaRouche din po at kasama lagi po ng kanyang ama. So kung ano man po merong pag-iisip ang kanyang ang yumaong ama na si Professor Butch Valdes na lahat po tayo ay talagang sinuportahan, tinangkilik at minahal natin. Yung hindi lamang po siya bilang isang tagapagsalita, no, at kundi tagapagturo. Ako po personally tinuturing ko po siyang guro, tatay na rin, no? Kaya po marami po akong mga kaalaman na talagang sa kanya po utang yung mga kaalaman at impormasyon Sabi ko nga po, nagkaroon po kasi ng eulogy doon sa wake po ni Professor, kung para po sa kaalaman ng ating mga taga-subaybay ni Professor Butch Valdes. Si Professor po ay namatay sa kanyang actually hindi na po nagising si Professor. It was in December 30 nung hindi na po siya ginigising po siya nung isang alaga ni Professor, pero hindi na po hindi na po humihinga. So pinilit po na ma-revive. Pero talagang hanggang doon na lamang po. But anyway, well, yun naman po yung hiling eh. Siguro mamarapatin ko po na bago ko po iusad yung ating palatuntunan, maganda po sigurong pagbigyan nyo na ako na ibigay ko po yung eulogy na binigay ko po nung sa wake po ni Professor Butch. Okay lang ba, Manjani?
Yes,
Opo.
please.
Okay, of course. Thank you po, Sir Johnny, at patuloy po kayong sumasama sa amin dito, no? Magandang gabi po, of course, sa lahat. Sabi ko nga, maganda nga ba ang gabi, no? Nung binanggit ko po ito. And personally, sabi ko, malungkot ang gabing ito dahil lahat po tayo ay nabigla sa pagyao ni Sir Butch. Pero sa mga taong malapit sa kanya, hiniling niya na kung mawawala siya ay para lang siyang natutulog. Wish granted, sabi ko nga. Pero wish granted din ba siya sa mga pinangarap niyang maunlad at mapayapang bansa? That remains to be seen. Nandito pa naman tayo para ipagpatuloy ang mga advokasyang sinimulan niya. Of course, sa totoo lang po, hindi ko alam kung paano ko sinimulan o sisimulan ang mga sasabihin ko dahil sa dami ng karanasan at tagal na nakasama ko si Sir Butch. Mula sa personal hanggang sa mga prinsipyo at advokasyang tinitindigan niya hanggang sa huling hibla ng kanyang hininga. Una kong nakilala si Sir Butch noong 2010 sa isang meet and greet ng Philippine Science Journalist Mega Manila sa kanyang tahanan sa San Juan. Mga 10 kaming reporter noon na isinama ni Kuya Wally Villamejor. Kung natatandaan niyo po, nakakasama niya po yun sa palatuntunan dito. At alam niyo ba, tanong agad ni Professor Butch sa aming lahat, kung paano raw namin nalaman na ang mundo ay bilog. Siyempre, lahat po kami napaisip, lalo na ako. Ano ba to? Kadarating lang namin, yun kagad yung tanong. So sa dami naman kasi ng tanong, bakit yun pa yung bungad sa amin? So isang buong araw po na nagkwento at samut-saring usapin ang kanyang inilahad sa amin. Ang iba, tinutulugan na siya. Ang iba, humihikab na. Pero di ko alam kung bakit ako sa halip na antukin ay may napukaw sa aking isipan. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, meron pa palang taong ganito mag-isip. Matalino, pero ang talino niya parang gusto niyang ipasa sa'yo. Gusto niyang tiyakin na naiintindihan mo yung ideya na gusto niyang itawid sa iyo. Sa totoo lang, nung college ako, inis na inis ako kapag economics na ang klase. Kasi naman parang ang hirap intindihin, di ba? Pero nang siya na yung nagpapaliwanag, parang ang daling intindihin. Buhat ng araw na yon, inibita niya ako sa kanyang lingguhang palatuntunan. Dito nga, eto, kung saan tayo ngayon, no? Umeere. Sa isip ko, bisita lang ako. Kikinig, mag-oobserba. Aba, first time, pinabasa kaagad ako ng 3 agarang hakbangin para sa kaligtasan ng ating bansa. Simula noon, sinabihan niya ako na ako na raw yung laging magbabasa. Marami pa kaming pinagsamahan ng mga press conferences, rally, speaking engagement niya, kasama ang pinakamatagal ng LaRouche youth, ngayon gayot na, si Ver Archivido. Yung ating technical sa ating sa Partido KDP, sa ating YouTube channel na Katipunan Channel. Pero alam nyo ba na sa kabila ng edad, kalagayan sa buhay ni Professor Butch, lumalahok at namumuno pa rin siya para imulat ang sambayanan sa tunay na kalagayan ng bansa at kung paano dapat bigyan ng halaga ang buhay ng tao. Kung tutuusin, hindi naman niya kailangang ubusin ng oras at lakas niya o gumastos at para isulong yung gusto niyang mangyari. It's not for his personal benefit, but for future generations. Lagi niyang sinasabi sa akin, be the virus of truth. Dahil kapag totoo, tama, at moral, ang tinitindigan mo, galit man siya sa'yo, they will realize that you're right. Hindi siya matatahimik hanggang ang kasinungalingan na ginigit niya ay tatalunin ng katotohanan. We may be few, quote-unquote. You can just count on your hands, but ideas never vanish. Tulad ng punlang isinaboy, tiyak may uusbong at uusbong, tulad mo, Cathy. Huwag kang matakot manindigan. Sa totoo lang po, para ko na po siyang tatay. Hindi pa ako nagsasalita. Nararamdaman niya yung laman ng puso at isip ko. Hindi pa nangyayari. Lagi niya ako binibilinan at tinuturuan. Tiwala, pagmamahal, at malasakit yung nagbigkis sa amin. Sa amin ni Ver, Sir Butch, Roxanne, and Itos. Sasabihin niya sa amin ni Ver kung ano ang gusto niyang mangyari at kaming dalawa ni Ver, iisipin namin kung paano ilalatag o e-execute. Kaming apat, we work in harmony. Me, Ver, is not focused on how much we can get when we work. We are focused on how we can help Sir Butch in his advocacy. Walang usapan sa sahod. We are volunteers. Na tulad ni Sir Butch, gusto niya maging maayos ang bansa para sa mga kabataan. But I tell you, hindi patay na lukan si Sir Butch. Hindi lang siya isang guro sa amin ni Ver. Isa rin siyang boss na may malasakit, stricto pero mapagmahal. He is generous, lalo na sa pagkain. Obvious ba? Dati payat po ako ngayon, mataba na. Pero tignan niyo po kami, di ba? But seriously, itong mga huling pag-uusap namin ni Sir Butch, laging bukang bibig niya na sabihin mo rin yan kay Itos. Bahala na kayo ni Itos dyan. Ngayon ko lang naisip na pahiwatig na pala yun na isinasalin na niya kay Sir Itos ang mga naiwan niyang obligasyon. The Renaissance man died on the 30th of December where the whole nation commemorate the 125th death anniversary of Jose Rizal. He died, Professor Butch Valdes, died in the morning of December 30. Sabi ko nga, baka sinundo ni Jose Rizal at sinabi sa kanyang, tara na, kaya na nila yan. Masyado ka na maraming isinakripisyo. Panahon naman para mag-relax ka dahil kakayanin na yan ng mga naturuan mo. Naway tulad ni Gat Jose Rizal, nagising niya ang damdamin ng mga Pilipino noong panahon ng Kastila. Sa makabagong panahon, nawa ang pagkamatay ni Professor Butch ay magsilbing paalaala sa atin na tayong naiwan niya ay huwag mawalan ng pag-asa. Dahil kapag nawalan na raw tayo ng pag-asa, wala nang mangyayari. Di na tayo kikilos at lahat ng gagawin natin ay puro pansarili na lang. Let us move forward. Continue planting seeds of truthful and righteous ideas. Let every one of us here be the virus of truth. Yan po ang inihatid kong eulogy kay Professor, dun po sa wake ni Professor Butch. At mula po sa puso yan. Kung tutuusin po, kulang na kulang pa po yan sa dami ng pinagsamahan namin. And to pay tribute po sa ating pinakamamahal na Professor Butch. Gusto ko pong balikan ang mga mahahalagang mga interview po sa kanya, mga speeches po niya. Ngayong gabing pong ito, 2 speech niya o interview, ang nais ko pong ibahagi sa inyo kung papaano po, para makita niyo po kung papaano po tumatakbo ang kaisipan ng isang Butch Valdes. Ang tunay na pangalan po ni Professor Butch Valdes ay Antonio Abad Santos Valdes. So, siguro ibigay na po natin ang panayam ni Thinking Pinoy, no? Ito pong video na to o interview po ni Thinking Pinoy o RJ Nieto sa kanyang tunay na pangalan po ay during the time of 2019 election. So, ibigay po natin, Tech. Thank you.
Hey guys, ito po uli ang Senatorial Gisahan 1-on-1, episode 5. Kasama ko po ngayon si dating Undersecretary Butch Valdes na nasa liderato po ngayon ng, nasa partido po ngayon ng KDP. Ano po ba yung KDP, sir?
KDP is Katipunan Demokratikong Filipino.
Ayun.
Ako po ang founding chairman ng partido. No? At meron po kaming ibang mga kasama dyan. No? At we're total of 7. 7 kaming tumatakbong Senado. Sa senador dito sa KDP.
Okay. Sir, ipaliwanag nyo nga sa akin sa yung basics ng platform ninyo. Ano ba gusto nyo gawin para pag naging senador kayo?
Marami kaming gustong gawin pag naging senador. As a matter of fact, madalas namin sinasabi pag nakapasok kami sa Senado, magkakarevolusyon sa Senado. Because lahat na namin gustong gawin ay talagang moving towards changing certain areas of trying to change certain areas of programs and policies. Now, bagamat legislature, siguro through the Senate we can influence the thinking of even the executive as to what areas will be needed that we should be focusing on. Kasi itong ating nakaraan ilang dekada, sa aming palagay, sa akin pong palagay, ang medyo nagkaroon po ng deterioration ng quality of life ang mga mamamayang Pilipino. No? At minsan napakahirap maramdaman ng ating mamamayang Pilipino. Pero kami po, dahil ang larangan ko po ay the field of accountancy, I headed an accounting firm, tapos ekonomista din po ako at nagbibigay po ako ng economic briefings all the past maybe 3-4 decades now. That's all I've been doing, focusing on economic policy and programs. At all the way, I was very critical of how the direction of our economy was going. Kanya napilitan po kami nagtayo ng movement. No? Ang unang-una po kong movement na itinayo ay itong Save the Nation movement. Save the Nation movement focuses on economic programs. No? Meron kaming 3 agarang hakbangin para sa kaligtasan ng ating bansa.
Alright.
At ditong 3 agarang hakbangin, nung sabi namin,
Ano po yung 3 agarang hakbangin? Una muna, ano yung mismong specific na problem na gusto nyo i-address?
Ekonomiya.
Alin parte? Kasi po sabi nyo kanina, over the past, several decades, nag-deteriorate ang quality of life,
Right.
Standard of living. So, ano yung exactly yung gusto nyong puntarin doon ng mga...
Kasi po, sa akin pong palagay, na ang ating pong direction ng ating ekonomiya was transformed from what would have been a producer economy and into a service economy. Over the past how many decades, starting from Corazon Aquino, ang talagang tinutukan po natin ay service economy. Ano po ba yun? Pumasok po tayo sa culinary arts, pumasok po tayo sa caregivers, itong mga nurses. And lahat po, hanggang ngayon nandito tayo sa mga call center agents. No? All of that was service. Ang ekonomiya natin is dependent, of course, on OFWs, which means we export our people, and then ang pinakamarami dyan, siyempre, yung tinatawag natin domestic helpers, at para magpadala sila ng pera sa atin. Sa amin po palagay, hindi ganito ang isang ekonomiya. Because we will be dependent on cheap labor. The reason we have to go and get jobs abroad is because we are willing to accept cheaper salaries than those that are there. Okay.
From there.
Kanya sa atin, yung cheaper salaries malaki na compared to what we're doing. Pero hindi po ganyan sa aking palagay ang pagpapatakbo ng ekonomiya dahil mayroon po tayong every year pumapasok sa labor market. At hindi natin...
Sir, we're a producer economy, sir. We're a producer of human beings.
Yes. Well,
at din-export natin yung mga human
and then
beings
we export
doon.
the human
Tragic,
beings.
no?
No? What we should do is the quality of human beings that we produce, no? And the technological capabilities that we generate and develop, no? must move towards fixing our economy and moving towards the production of our economy so that meron tayong continuity. Paano naman tayo, how can we base our economy on just being suppliers of world's domestic helpers? No? Hindi po pwede siguro maging
So
ganyan.
how would you do that, sir, as a senator? How would you help address that? I don't expect you to fix it.
No.
Pero how can you alleviate it man lang?
Well, first of all, we must move towards real infrastructure. No? We must question the fact that we haven't gone into real infrastructure. For example, what is real infrastructure? Not the roads and the bridges.
What is it?
It's energy. No? Energy and water. No? You cannot move anything unless you've got energy. You cannot produce anything unless you've got reliable, clean, and cheap energy. Right now, the only thing all over the world, the cheapest, the most reliable, and the cleanest source of power generation is nuclear. And we have
most reliable, no?
Yes, we have a nuclear power plant, and because of Corazon Aquino, we spent
It's more
$4 billion on it. Marcos spent 1.5, and Corazon spent 2.5, trying to stop it. No? And we lost the case against Westinghouse, so we were penalized. And up to 2007, we were paying $100,000 a day, no, for this. Now, that is a $4 billion plant, and we have not produced a single watt from it. No? And it's sayang, no? And yet, this thing is going to save lives. Once you go into...
But wait, sir. Actually, it's non-debatable na.
Yes, okay.
We need energy. So how will you address it?
Well, first I'm going to have to move towards getting that plant starting. No? And when we start the nuclear power plant, as we had proposed, by the way, we had given a proposal to the president, no? Not personally because we don't get to meet him, but we prepared a report by the Renaissance Philippines, a group that we were involved in, wherein we were going to have a nuclear energy development program that will not cost a single cent for the government.
PPP?
No, not PPP. You see, the nuclear power plant we have in Bataan is owned by the government. No? We will rehabilitate that. We will get Westinghouse to run it again, inject a little equity, which is probably not more than $1 billion. And it will run within 12 to 18 months. At least this is what the Russian scientists are saying. This is what the South Korean scientists are saying. Between 12 to 18 months, that plant will run. Once it runs, it's owned by government. The income that it will generate will fund the next nuclear power plants that we will be putting up. And so those next nuclear power plants will be actually of a different model. They will be smaller. They will be cheaper and faster to construct.
Okay, question, sir. So let's suppose, kasi actually non-debatable na we need new sources of energy and that we need cheaper energy. However, if you're gonna do something like that, sabi mo, up in 12 to 18 months. So that means in 12 to 18 months, today's power producers will face fierce competition from the nuclear power plant.
Yes.
And we know how powerful their lobby is.
Well,
So, suppose you went in the Senate, naupo kayo, How will you go against that lobby? How will you be able to build consensus
Yeah.
with your peers?
As of now, RJ, even before getting into the Senate, we've already mounted a movement which is asking the President to declare a state of emergency on the power sector.
Pwede ba yan?
Well, he can.
Okay.
Well, you know, Ramos declared a state of emergency on
Yung 1990s
before,
Brown
right?
Council,
Yes,
yeah.
so he can do it now. But this time, it is to suspend the EPIRA law and to grant the Filipino people 50% discount across the board on all of its electricity rates. Okay, this is very much needed because the biggest burden of any
So,
Filipino household
Declare state of emergency. Ano lang po, sinisigurado ko lang
Yes.
na follow ng mga readers.
Okay.
So, declare state of emergency on the power sector. Using that power, number 1, suspend the EPIRA law, and number 2,
grant a 50% discount on all electricity bills.
okay.
Okay, mabigat, no? But pwedeng gawin. You see, first of all, you must understand and why this is needed. We are paying the highest electricity rates in the world. We're paying 24 US cents per kilowatt hour. Whereas even in the US, they only pay 12 US cents per kilowatt hour, one half of what we pay. And yet, ang ordinary citizen nila doon earns 30 times more than the Filipino here. The cost burden of electricity in the Filipino is 25% of the person's salary goes into electricity. Yan po ang nangyayari. It is onerous and immoral.
Question, sir. So, yung pangalawang issue, yung 50% slash on electricity rates, medyo mahirap yon. Pero yung number 1 na EPIRA law,
Yes.
I want to focus on that. Ano po ba yung problema sa EPIRA law?
EPIRA law privatized the whole power sector. No? The whole power sector. Power generation, power transmission, and power distribution. Ang may-ari nito, minsan siguro nagsasama-sama na sila sa directorates nila, is eight corporations. No? And they're earning something like 3 to 3.5 trillion pesos every year on us. Para maramdaman mo, the whole international community, ang kanilang electricity rates have increased by only 46%. In over 20 years.
Okay.
46%.
How about us?
In the Philippines, in the same 20 years, we increased our power rates by 460%.
Huh?
Yes, because pinasok natin sa private sector. Ano bang objective ng oligarchy? I call them oligarchy. No? Ang objective nila, siyempre profits. No? At hindi mapipigilan ng bayan dahil naprotektado itong mga oligarko ng EPIRA law. No?
So,
Now, this is onerous and immoral. If the president really wants to address this kind of situation for improvement of the quality of life of Filipino, this is, to my mind, hands down, is going to help the Filipinos all the way from now till even beyond his term. Now, I also want to say, hindi lang ito, it does not stop there. The reason we want to focus this here is because I personally am against the PPP. The public utilities, water,
public-private partnerships?
yeah, because lahat yung public-private partnership nakafocus sa public utilities. Electricity, water, healthcare, mga transit systems, di ba po? Now, public utilities must first benefit the public. Ang publiko dapat ang mag-benefit dyan, hindi yung private sector. Pero dahil dito sa ginawa nating PPP at ginawa nating EPIRA at mga iba pang nangyari, ang unang-unang nagbe-beneficyo dito, ang oligarko.
Well, of course.
Tapos sumasalo na lang tayo ng all of the dadagdagang nilang presyo. No? Ang consumers ang tinatamaan. But because of the high cost of electricity, it's not just the consumers. It also prevents real investment from coming in to put up the factories. Because palagi nilang tinuturo napakamahal ng kuryente ninyo. And we are, I'm sure all of these other so-called economists, no, I say so-called because I have my beef against the economic advisors of this president. No?
Why, sir?
I don't think they're advising him correctly. I don't think even with the train law, they misled him into thinking that by imposing train law, the prices are going to go down.
So, okay. So, focus tayo sa train law, ha? Kasi especially since I think magiging relevant issue sa 17th or 18th Congress, di ba?
Yes.
So, ano po ba yung mga issue nyo doon, sir? Isa-isahin natin.
Basically, yung train law niyan sa akin is a consumption tax eventually, no? Meron silang iba-ibang mga indirect ways of doing it, pero basically it redounds to increasing the taxes to the consumer, no? And once it's a consumption tax, para bang VAT, no? Tataas at tataas ang halaga ng bilihin,
Yes.
okay? Ang sinasabi ng mga advisors ng presidente, hindi, nakatutok tayo dito, hindi naman doon sa mga mahihirap. Pero ang talagang nangyari, ang mahihirap ang sumasalo ng lahat. Maski na hindi mo tututukan ng directly ang tax niyan, yung tax na ini-impose mo dito,
Mag-trickle sa kanila.
sila ang sasalo. No?
Okay, so
And
how
this
would
is
you do it,
real.
sir, if you were given,
Well,
pare kung may 100%
okay.
power over tax reform?
The reason for the train law that they were saying, etong mga ekonomista, ang sabi nila, kasi meron tayong build. No? Eh, mali ang kanilang reason if that's the case. Alam mo bakit? Ang taxes, no, that you impose on the people is parang it's only for operating expenses. If you want to go finance your build projects, you have to go long term, because infrastructure is an investment. Investments like that need long term money.
Where do you get long-term money?
From China and from AIIB, from Russia, or from BRICS Bank, and all of these countries that are willing to go on a long-term infrastructure investment arrangements with countries like us. What had happened? What had happened was, ang ginawa natin, meron tayong ODAs, what they call borrowing, long-term borrowings, Okay, long-term borrowings yan, with very low interest. Pero meron din silang reserve para sa private sector, infrastructure, no? Bakit sila magbibigay ng reserve para sa private sector? Because of PPP? No. What happens, etong mga private sector cannot borrow long-term money with low interest. Only governments can do that. Okay. Ang ginawa nila, binigay nila sa private sector. So the private sector has to borrow commercial rates at short-term periods, which means high cost. This high cost, gusto nilang ipondohan with the train law. Generation of funds. No? Why will you do that? No? Di siyempre ang tatamaan itong mga taong to. Why? To favor the private sector. No. Infrastructure must be, it's a long-term investment. Ang benefits dyan will redound maybe about 5, 10, 15, 20 years from the time you have fixed it.
Yeah,
No.
kasi ganito, sir. Sabi kasi, nung nanood ako ng launching ng Build about a year or two ago, ang sabi po kasi doon, sabi ko, so, dami niyong gusto magpatayo. Tinanong ko talaga sila si Joke, no? Tsaka si ang dami niyong gusto magpatayo. Paano niyo babayaran yan? Di ba may ODA? Ano yung percentage na ODA just kung hindi sapat yun, hindi naman sapat yun? So, tayo kukuha. Sabi nila from local banks daw. Nakinabahan ako dahil hindi naman yung nagbibigay ng 50 years na rin, di ba? Hindi magbibigay yan. So, ang tanong dito, kung po pwede pa yung theory mo, una, po pwede ba yung papayag ibang bansa na ODA?
Yes.
Na ODA yung financing mo ng 100% ng project?
Yes.
And number two, given that, and I think there are a lot of learned officials in the government right now. I'm not saying they're good people, ha? Just educated.
Educated.
Two different things. So, why are they still insisting? Ano yung motive behind inserting private sector sa palagay ninyo?
That's like a rhetorical question.
Yes, it
right?
is. So, answer, sir.
Well, it's actually personal benefits. And if you were private sector, and I was the economic advisor that is in charge of this, I get to a nice project, an infrastructure. What's that? First of all, you will borrow commercial loans, right? And what's our role? I will guarantee. I have to guarantee that. Government has to guarantee that. Para mabigyan kita ng project, thank you. Na? Anong thank you mo sa akin? Sa akin, delikado yan. Na? Kasi you're making use of these long-term investments for personal benefit. And of course, pag binigyan mo ng infrastructure assistance and project itong private sector, ang infrastructure, pag pinasukan yan, parang alkansya yan. Captive market tayo. Captive. No? Wala silang kalugi-lugi. Ang utang niyan, guaranteed by government. Tapos sasabihin mo, kailangan itaas ko yung rates ko ng toll fees, kailangan itaas ko yung kung ano-ano mang rates na itataas mo para kumita ka, no? At para mabigyan mo din yung nagbigay sa iyo ng project.
This is what, sir, since kasi po mga friends, bago po tayo humaba pa yung usapan, ibigay nyo nga po sa akin, sir, na maikli muna yung inyong professional background para mabigyan sila ng konteksto doon sa susunod kong mga itatanong.
Yeah, well, my whole professional life was as a practicing accountant. No? I was head of an accounting firm, no? Which my father founded, no? And at that time that I left it, we were about 800 professionals, no? And most of them, of course, were CPAs. And of course, in the process, by being in AIM and having been awarded, and having been awarded the leadership distinction in leadership there, I was put in the Hall of Fame of AIM. No? And much of the things that we had done was understanding how the economy works. And the concern all the time was if the policy that was being implemented at that time even by Marcos, no, and then by Corazon Aquino was good to the people, there should be an improvement of the quality of life of our people. No? But it was not working that way. I realized, especially during Corazon Aquino's time, that the economists that we have now and have been there, every administration, including the present one, were concerned about statistics, not concerned about the quality of life of people. You see, statistics is GDP. No? But if that is their concern, to bring on, so that it brings up our credit worthiness, right? If your GDP is so much, your credit worthiness goes up, which means they said now are attractive to so-called foreign investors. But look at the foreign investors that come in. They do not come in to put up factories. They come in as portfolio investments for speculation. They come in here, join the market, stock market, bond market, make money, which means get the profits from the locals and then get out. Right? It's a looting process, but they call that foreign investment. But they also use this to increase our GDP. So what had happened was our GDP statistics is...
So yung market speculation, yung tipong hot money coming into the PSE,
increases GDP. Yes, of course.
So walang real benefit to the common tao.
Exactly. That's why ang makikita mo dito, mataas ang GDP mo, but it's disconnected to the quality of life of your people.
Alright, mabilis na explanation lang. Medyo highfalutin to some of my readers. Ganito yan mga friends. Kunwari 1 peso ka, Amerikano ka, punta kang Pinas, i-bet mo sa stock market, naging 2 piso. Oras na mag-2 piso, naging mas favorable ang market sa States, alis ka na. Doon iuwi mo na yung dos. Ang problema, yung piso na yon, 2 things. Number 1, inagaw mo sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. At number 2, ikaw yung yumaman, walang yumaman na Pinoy.
Exactly.
Diba?
Yung mayaman, yung mga speculators.
And number 3, yung kinita mo na piso na yon, nakapatong sa GDP, nakadagdag sa total ng GDP ng Pilipinas, kahit wala namang nag-improve na buhay ng Pinoy.
Exactly. Alam nyo, in the same way, RJ, pinapaliwanag ko to dito. Okay, foreign investment, $1 billion may galing sa labas. Anong mas mabuti? Yung $1 billion, no, ipapasok dito sa agro-industrial development project, sabihin natin. That means agriculture, lagyan ng processing, ganyan-ganyan. Okay? At of course, it will generate jobs and generate production na pinoproduce mo. $1 billion. Ang pagdating sa GDP mo, plus $1 billion yan. O yung isa naman, $1 billion pumasok. No? At ilinagay natin sa sugal. Sabihin natin sa...
Casino, kumari.
yung ating...
Ano ba?
Yung ating... yung ating parang... Hindi, sorry. Yung parang weteng, yung...
Small town lottery.
Oo, small town lottery. 1 billion, pumasok. Small town lottery. No? What is good, what is better for the economy? Yung 1 billion, kasi 1 billion din sa GDP yan. Yung isa, 1 billion din sa GDP. No? Di siyempre yung isa, why? Because it has a generating capacity of products and work for the people. Yung sa small time lottery, ano yung pinasok ng 1 billion? Walang ginawang jobs yan. No? But pagdating sa GDP, parehong makikita mo nag-increase ng $1 billion.
Right. At parehong mukhang foreign investment.
Exactly. No? This is the problem with us. Our economies are just focused on that. They don't.
Resume padding bale.
They don't
resume
care.
Padding ng Philippine resume.
They don't care about the quality of life Filipinos.
So, question sir, as a senator, what would you do to address that? Kasi ganito lang ha, other things are going and assuming that everything you're saying is true. I would rather have you as say the Department of as the Finance Minister rather than a senator. So why do you want to be a senator instead of something else?
Because I'm talking about the program. No, I can want to become a finance, but nobody is going to ask me, right? But the only way that I can think of is probably going into the Senate. No? But the point here is this one. If we are in the Senate, what is it that we can do to change that? Oh, we're going to cry hell. And we were going to question all of those people that are going into these kinds of investment. We're going to question the economic managers and the finance secretary as to why they went into this.
So what you intend to do is to leverage your oversight powers to the hilt?
Yes, of course.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That's why I said if we get into the Senate, there will be a revolution in the Senate. No? And we will be discussing substantive issues. We're not going to go into blue ribbon
issues
things.
Na may laman talaga.
Ano itong pang photo ops lang yan ng mga ibang senador. No, I don't care about that. No, we must care about our country, or else if we don't do that now, and we allow other people to take over who do not understand, no, we will continue to deteriorate, and we might hit rock bottom in as far as this thing is concerned.
Okay, kasi sir, ang dating ko kasi, from my appreciation of what you're saying, yung magiging prospective senatorial stint is more focused on oversight.
Yes.
Hindi, kasi medyo sabihin na natin na medyo departure from the usual senator. To put it lightly.
Yes, yes.
Ang problema nun sir, pag ganon, at gusto mo gumawa ng bagong batas, hindi mangyayari yun. Di ba? Kasi mahihirapan ka magka-consensus. So, fine.
Numbers,
Kasi
okay lang.
tatlo yung powers mo, di ba? Gumawa ng batas, mag-oversight, gumawa ng budget.
Yes.
So, gusto mag-focus sa oversight, fine. Ngayon, since oversight na yung focus mo ngayon, ang appreciation ko ngayon, bukod doon sa facet na yung Duterte government, the economic strategy, focuses too much on, parang merong sumasabit na private sector, di ba?
Yes.
Ano pa po ba ang palagay ninyo na dapat ayusin, sir?
Marami pa, no?
Yung mga dalawa pa, na pinakamalaki.
You mean with regard to the economy?
Yeah, how Duterte can fix his act, economic act?
Well, he has got to go into the nuclear thing. No, the other one, the third one, he's got to focus on production of food rather than buying food from outside. This thing about the rice tariffication, no, is a no-no. I'm so sad that he's inclined to approve that, if that has not been approved, no, because that will be import liberalization. We do not want to be Our position is no country can call itself a nation who cannot feed its own people, right? Mm-hmm. And if we're going to go into this, wherein we will be dependent on importation of our foods, most ito pang main staple natin is rice, no? We will be at the mercy of all other countries for our survival. Then we should not go into this, because this will be like putting the nail on us, more and more nails, so that we cannot move anymore. No, we should get out of this. The ones that are pushing him for this are these economic advisors who have this concept that since we cannot produce, we might as well be dependent on the rest of the world, no, for our survival. No, I don't subscribe to that. No, and often, of course, these are the same people that will not care about our sovereignty as a nation. Now, ito pang isang gagawin natin na gusto kong ever since before is the so-called foreign debt service. No, yung foreign debt service, we're paying a debt pretty close to about $12 billion a year. No,
so that's 12 times 50.
About 600.
1,200 divided by 600 billion
About
pesos.
600 billion pesos. We're paying that. And to service a foreign debt, which we never really received. And I say we never really received it. Why? What happens? Over the years, over the decades, no, our currency has been devalued upon the instructions of the IMF and the financial oligarchy, the international, those money lenders. Sasabihin nila, ang peso mo is overvalued, you better devalue it. And you cannot do anything, and so we follow. They use the central bank, which is dependent on the IMF, no, to implement this. So you devalue your currency. Dati,
But that's dangerous for a consumption-driven economy.
Exactly.
If we were a manufacturing economy, carry yun di ba? Yun ang issue ng US sa currency manipulation ng China, right?
I'm glad you understand it exactly the way it should be. Because pag inipit ka, sasabihin 4 pesos. Dati, 1971, 4 pesos to $1. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin nun?
Kung may $1 ka na utang,
4 pesos ang kailangan mo para bumili ng $1, bayaran mo yan. Pagdating ng all the way up to Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, let's say, 60 pesos to $1. The same $1 debt, pero you need 60 pesos.
naging 15 times.
Oh. So where will you get that? From the people. How do you get that? Value-added tax is the most efficient way of getting it. Value-added tax is a tax that is imposed on the people, whether or only because they are alive. Because it doesn't care whether you are employed or not. You pay the tax. Because when you purchase anything, you are actually paying the taxes. No? It doesn't care whether you're retired or not, no? Because you still pay the tax. No? Ito yung most efficient way of collecting taxes. And they use this to service that debt. A debt which we never really received. Ang nangyayari dyan, dahil hindi ka makabayad ng lahat ng utang mo, yung residual pumapatong sa principal. Pataas ng pataas ang principal, pataas ng pataas ang debt service.
Kumbaga nagkaka-interest o interest.
Yes.
Diba?
It's what they call banker's arithmetic. No. Ganyan ang nangyayari dyan.
So, ganito sir. Una mong sinabi kanina, para maging mas bearable, mas economically beneficial for Filipinos yung build program, imbis na maging hybrid na ODA, imbis na hybrid na foreign grant at saka foreign loan at saka bank, gawing foreign na lang lahat kasi longer term, lower interest.
And
kasi
more,
sa JICA,
and
2% lang yata, parang ganun.
JICA, maximum na yan 3%. No?
Okay.
Pero meron pa tayong moratorium. Yung mga
moratorium?
ODAs. For example, hindi kanila agad-agad kailangan magbayad. They give you 10-year moratorium. Grace period. Yes. Okay. May grace period. Kasi alam nila, nagbi-build ka pa eh. No? Alam nila na hindi mo pa babayaran yan. Mababayaran mo yan pag umaandar na yung...
Ba't ayaw gawin nila Dominguez to?
Paano nga? Binibigay nila dito sa mga private sector dahil meron silang arrangements.
Sa mga ex-employers nila?
At yan ang hindi yan ex-employers. It's correct. You're correct. You're correct.
Isa sa mga major contractors.
Yes, yes. Yan ang hindi nila pinapaliwanag sa presidente. Alam mo, nung nagsasabi ang presidente, ako hanggang dito lang sa crime, there's drugs, and ganyan. Pero ang ekonomiya, pinauubaya ko sa mga eksperto. Ang sakit ng puso ko talaga to hear it. Because, Mr. President, sabi na, we rely more on your common sense than the so-called expertise of these economists. No?
So, parang ang naging kwento kasi, sir, ngayon, doon sa regulatory capture to the highest level ang nangyari, no?
The whole country. We're not...
The regulated became the regulators.
Yes. Alam nyo, we are no longer in charge of our lives. The government is not in charge of our lives. It's the oligarchy. The oligarchy that is in charge of our lives. Look, water, electricity, ano pa, no? And then transport, and then healthcare.
And there's media to back them up.
Of course. If you're earning that much, no, kayang-kaya mo yan pati mainstream media.
Yeah, natandaan ko kasi, sir, nung bata ako, ang konsepto namin ng ultra-rich, yung may-ari ng gasolinahan.
Oh, biro.
Diba? Kasi pag may gasolinahan ka, siguradong bebenta ka kahit walang lugi yan.
Siguradong pupunta.
In the same way, on a grander scale, power, ano ba yan?
Mass transit system, water.
Hindi nalulugi yan.
Yung mga dams natin dito, may-ari dyan, South Korea na. Yung malaking dam natin.
Saan?
Yung Angat Dam. Angat Dam. Yes. Oo, South Korea na. Dahil privatize nila yan. Lahat. No? Ang mga iba nagpatayo ngayon ng mga dams. No? Because alam mo yung dam, no?
Wait, sir. Nakikita ko yung ibig sabihin niya.
Yes, yes.
And we need basically an economic revolution.
Yes.
Ito yung problema. Natandaan ko, sir, yung 1953. Natandaan ko, parang buhay na ako nun. In the 1953, yung kwento ng Iran, they nationalized their oil industry. Tapos nagalit ang Britain, nagpatulong sa Amerika. America founded a coup d'etat that eventually kicked out si Mossadegh na democratically elected leader. Pinalitan nila Ayatollah Khomeini. Diba? So, if you're gonna do something like that in the Philippines, and I think the scale that you want to do it, medyo mas bongga pa sa ginawa ni Mossadegh. Can you do it?
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do, pero will it be done?
We have to try to do it. If we call ourselves citizens, and despite the fact that it's going to be difficult, you're going to have to do it as a matter of duty. Because what is at stake here? At stake here is our whole country and the future of this country. That's what's at stake. Now, is it worth trying? Is it worth laying down your life for it? Yes, I think so. Because after all, the trying is the trying to do it is what is important. The success will all depend upon the people and God. But the trying is what is important for each individual, each person who calls himself a citizen of this republic.
Ganito, sir, benta sa akin yung idea na fine, let's rearrange the economy, fine. Kaya lang, sir, bilang political realist,
yes,
I know that there are constraints. Parang if you want 100, you're probably gonna get like 30 and it's better than nothing. Parang ganun na yan. I don't see, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see how I want that to happen, but I don't see how it's gonna happen.
Let's go back 3 years. No? There's something that we never saw would happen, but it happened. His name is Rodrigo Duterte.
Which is actually right.
He was a phenomenon. No? There is something that had happened. No? He was backed up by the Filipino people. I will tell you, I will make a confession. I did not vote for President Duterte. I did not vote for anyone, but I did not vote for President Duterte.
Why?
Because as I was seeing him, I said, this person does not want to win.
But at the rate he's going,
At the rate he's going,
no?
he was kissing, he was cursing,
Minura si Pope.
and he was threatening people and saying that damihan nyo yung cemetery, right? Sabi ko, how can you win like that? No? But the problem there was, we were looking at him from our eyes, not from the eyes of the massa. The eyes of the massa saw in him a redeemer, a savior that's going to clean up their life, change their life. Because every little community, the ones that were lording there, were the drug pushers. They were armed, they had capability, and they had money, no? And they were taking over their lives and their children's lives. No? And so they needed this person to clean that up and to redeem them from that kind of situation. And he did. And he did to a great extent. Unexpectedly, he was able to do it. And many things that he was able to do as well. No? Now, sa atin, sabi ko, if it can be done that way, no, because the other thing, the way I justified it, I said, God really uses the most unlikely messengers. No? Sa akin, so sabi ko, this one is the unlikely messenger. No one will expect him to have been, to bring us to this. Pero meron. Now is the time. We have a strong president. We have a popular president whose heart is in the right place for the people and whose balls, no, is also in the right place for the republic, no, for the sovereignty of this republic. We have to take advantage of this. He is, to my mind, God-given. All we have to do is expand that commitment that he had made, to expand it to cover economics.
Kasi sir, ito ang ano eh. I'll be honest here.
Yes.
I've supported Duterte since 2008 when I lived in Davao.
Yes, yeah.
And the fact is, when he took office in Malacanang, his single biggest problem is ang babaw ng bangko. Wala siyang kilala eh. So he had to put in people na he knows he can trust.
Yeah.
Well, he thinks he can trust.
Yeah. And people who were recommended to him by people he could trust.
Yeah. So, in as far as, sorry na medyo debate na to, pero
Okay lang.
ano eh, yung wish mo na let's take advantage of his political capital, it's time for radical change. I think that might be impossible given the people around him and given his pre-election na, his trust of sa strangers.
Yes.
So, ngayon sir, maging senador ka, you will have a voice. Yeah.
Yes.
You will be able to talk to the president once in a while. What will you tell him?
We have to do this, Mr. President. If
How
we
will, not what will you tell him? How will you convince him?
I think
It's one thing kasi to say
Yeah.
something must be done, pero
sa akin, RJ, if I can convince you, I can convince the president. If I
ay
can
ako sir,
convince, wait,
masyado mababa lang standards
hindi.
para dun sa-
Ibig sabihin, if the very same things, if we can convince, if people supported me enough and our group enough to put us in the Senate, no, then we have convinced them. No? Now, if we can convince this number, millions of people, why can't we convince the president? All we need to do is just a few moments of his time, and I will explain it to him in capsulized form. No, I feel I can. No, I just those important issues that he has to do. knowing and assuming that he really loves the people, no? And because I believe that, no? And he's going to fight for them. He has to realize that what has been being fed, he has been being fed by untruths, no? And he was being misled by these so-called experts. No? Ito ang delikado. Pag yung expert mo, hindi pareho ang puso ninyo. No? Yan ang delikado. I believe in the President, but I have serious reservations about his members of the cabinet. Energy, economics, finance, agriculture, no? And even education.
Even education.
Even education.
I thought
Why? No. She's doing fine. But
Yung
you have to...
Yung mo nasabi para medyo...
Right.
Ganun ako eh.
Yeah, she's doing fine. But you know, pag nagbigay ka ng... Ito pang lacking sa atin ngayon, by the way. Kailangan magbigay ka ng vision. Kailangan magbigay ka ng objective. So that all cabinets, activities, they are not
Kanya-kanyang discount.
kanya-kanya. They have to be following and to achieve that. And they have to work together. Education is very important. No? Because pag you're in charge of, the government is in charge of the youth, right? Health and education. Why? Because we want productive workers by the time they reach employment age, right? Now, what are you producing? If education is a process, what are you trying to produce? Are you going to produce, is your objective to produce domestic helpers? Is your objective, national objective, to produce low-skilled type of people? No? Or, if you're going to have a national objective of agro-industrialization development, then your education should
be
follow
geared
that,
up. Kumbaga
right?
may synergy.
Not only synergy, they are duty bound to make
May
sure
synergy at kung walang synergy, papaluin nyo sila para mag-synergy.
that you have the laborers required for you to have an agro-industrial development program, hindi ba? No?
Yes.
That follows. Hindi yung basta K-12 kasi sa Singapore dito, anong klase yan? Who cares about these other countries, no? Just have that objective. That
So
objective.
basically, create an education system that responds to your country's needs.
That responds
Ganon.
to your country's objective.
Right? Goals, and dreams.
Right.
Ganon.
You have to establish and clarify those goals to all of your cabinet members.
But it's not clear right now. Eh?
None. You see, that's why yung pagpaubaya ko yung economics sa aking mga eksperto, delikado yan. No? And you're the leader. Tutulungan natin siya mag-define ng objective, and then he cracks the whip on all of these cabinet members. No? Now, if he has to change these guys, and that's one of the possible proposals I will make, is to change these guys. Guys, never mind on their credentials. Just look as to whether they're going to follow and do what you want as the leader of this country.
Okay, sir. Nabother ako sa ibang mga sinabi mo. Eh. Hindi naman nabother na, ano mo yan?
Yes, yes.
Napaisip ako eh.
Very good.
But, alam mo yun talaga yung deep inside my head na sumisigaw sa akin. Daming gusto na ito, magagawa ka niya. Ganun eh, di ba?
Yeah,
it's a fair question eh, di ba?
Yes.
Daming gusto na ito. Pero I guess kung makukulit mo si Presidente, magka-boses ka, baka nga sakali.
But hindi. Tsaka yung tao. Pag andyan yung tao, no, marami kang magagawa. The people have to be behind you. That's why, remember when I said,
is there still time?
there is. If right now, for example, to me, it's very important, you grant that 50% discount across the board on electricity rates.
Will he not get impeached pag ginawa
No,
niya?
who will impeach him?
The lobbyists.
Who?
Ayoko baka malay-
Naka-state of emergency ka. Naka-state of emergency ka. This is your power. Sino mag-aano sa'yo? No? And the people are behind you. I ask you, if you grant 50% discount across the board of electricity rates, who will benefit? The people. Whether or not they are politically with you or against you, they still will be benefited. Against whom? Against 8 big corporations that are benefiting from the EPIRA law.
Okay, sir. Ganito. Finale natin, sir. Ganito, sir, gawin nyo, ha? Name. Ano tinatakbo nyo? What you want to do? How will you do it? Ayan, sige po. Game.
Butch Valdes. I'm running for senator. I want to change economic programs.
Ano number nyo, sir, sa balota?
61.
61 daw, guys.
61. I want to change the economic program from now being as a service economy back to being a producer economy. And I hope to be able to get the ear of the president and the people to back this major change that is needed so that we will be facing a much, much better future. This is our legacy that we should be giving to the next generation. We may not reap the rewards early on during our lifetime, but make sure that if this is the direction we go to, the next generation and the generations after will be remembering us for having made these changes.
Again, ito po ang Senatorial Gisahan 1-on-1 Episode 5 with former Education Undersecretary and the career accountant. Diba?
Yes.
Butch Valdes.
Yeah.
Number 61 po sa balota. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat, RJ. This is a privilege.
Okay, napakinggan po ninyo ang o napanood po ninyo sa pamagitan po ng ating social media at sa pamagitan po ng hintilan po ng RMN DZXL ang panayam po ni Thinking Pinoy o ni RJ Nieto noong February 26, 2019 kung saan po si Professor Butch Valdes ay tumakbo bilang senador. At nakita po natin kung paano po yung kaisipan na meron ang nag-iisang Butch Valdes. Nakita po natin, di ba, laging tanong natin, bakit ba lagi naman tayong nagpapalit ng administrasyon, ng liderato, pero bakit patuloy na naghihirap ang mga Pilipino? So, meron pong ang ating tumakbong senador na si Professor Butch Valdes, nakita po niya na itong economic program ng gobyerno ay patungo dun sa tinatawag nating service economy sa halip na maging producer economy. Madalas po ang lagi nating tanong gugustuhin ba ng ating mga liderato na gawin to? Well, of course, sabi nga niya, napakahirap. Kaya nga ang tanong lagi ang tanong po kaya ba nilang manindigan para protektahan ang sambayanang Pilipino o ang buhay ng mga Pilipino? Kaya ba nilang tindigan ang soberanya ng ating bansa na hindi tayo ibebenta sa mga dayuhan? Kung nakita niyo po kung paano po ipinaliwanag ni Professor Butch, kung paano po yung kaibahan o kawalan ng koneksyon ng GDP increase sa sikmura ng taong bayan. Binigyang halimbawa niya yung $1 billion na investment na yung isa ay i-invest mo sa agriculture na kung saan ay nagge-generate ng trabaho at ng produksyon. Samantala yung isa, ginawa niyang halimbawa ay yung small town lottery, di ba? Okay, parehas na GDP yan na $1 billion, pero sino yung may diretsong epekto para po magkaroon ng umikot ang ekonomiya sa ating bansa? At hindi ko makalimutan yung kanyang binanggit. Sabi nga ni thinking Pinoy, ang hirap gawin ng mga nasa isip niya. Parang, sabi ko nga too good to be true. Para, sa akin po, parang ganun Pero sabi nga niya if we call our citizens, we have to do it, sabi niya, because it's a matter of duty. Obligasyon nating mga Pilipino na pabutihin natin ang buhay ng mga Pilipino at ng mga susunod na henerasyon. Sabi nga niya, it depends, the success depends upon the people and God. Pero kinakailangan, higit sa lahat, subukan natin, kumilos tayo. Let's move forward, sabi ko nga kanina, diba? So yan po yung ilan sa mga tumimo sa aking kaisipan. And I'm sure yung ating mga kababayan na nanonood at nakikinig ngayon sa iba't ibang panig ng ating bansa ay talagang na nakikita nila kung saan patungo ang kaisipan ng isang Butch Valdes. Gawin ko na lang din po, by the way, bigyan ko lang po ng alas 8:12 na po ng gabi. Kayo pa rin po ay Philippine Standard Time po, 8:12 po ng gabi at kayo po ay nakikinig pa rin sa pamagitan po ng RMN DZXL 558 po sa talapitan po ng inyong mga radyo at napapanood niyo po kami sa pamagitan ng mga social media accounts sa ating pong FB page ng Partido KDP o Katipunan Channel, gayon din sa ating YouTube account. So please like, share, and subscribe ang ating pong Katipunan Channel. Huwag niyo pong ibahagi niyo po yan kahit po sa ating mga kagalit. Para na sa ganun ay mag-iba ang kanilang pag-iisip. Nakita nyo naman yung epekto ni Professor Butch Valdes dito kay Thinking Pinoy, diba? At by the way, gusto ko lang din pong pasalamatan po ang pamunuan ng RMN DZXL mula po sa kaibuturan po ng aming puso na dito sa aming Katipunan. Kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa Radio Mindanao Network, sa RMN, lalo na po sa ating butihin na Chairman and President Eric S. Canoy, dahil po sa patuloy na pagsuporta po ng palatuntunang ito sa adhikain at advokasya po ni Professor Butch Valdes. Dahil po sa RMN DZXL, naabot po ni Professor Butch ang marami nating kababayan sa loob at labas po ng bansa. Mga Pilipinong nasa sulok at malalayong lugar na lalawigan po. At naway tulad po ng suportang ibinigay ng himpilang ito kay Professor Butch ay gayon din sana ang ipagkaloob sa kanyang anak na si Itos Valdes na makakasama po natin sa susunod na pagtatanghal po natin upang patuloy na magbahagi ng mga kaalaman at impormasyon po na tanging dito lamang po sa palatuntunang ito ninyo maririnig. By the way, sa ikalawang bahagi po ng ating palatuntunan, ay ibibigay ko naman po sa inyo ang panayam ni dati pong Pangulo ng National Press Club, pero siya po ngayon ay siyang secretary po ng NPC na walang iba kundi si Paul Gutierrez, na kakapanayamin po niya si Professor Butch na isinahimpapawid po ito sa Radyo po ng Bayan o Radyo Pilipinas. So sa ilang saglit po, mapapakinggan po natin. Pinag-usapan po dito, pinili po namin to dahil mainit na mainit po kasi ngayon ang issue tungkol sa nuclear energy program po sa ating bansa. So hayaan niyo pong ibigay po natin kung ano ba, kasi isa po si Professor Butch sa talagang nangunguna na ipinaglalaban po na buhayin, gamitin ang nuclear energy sa ating bansa. Considering na napakataas po ng halaga nito at talagang nakikita naman natin na nagkukulang ang source of energy sa ating bansa. So hayaan po natin, ibibigay ko po sa inyo sa ikalawang bahagi ang panayam na ito kay Professor Butch.
Kasama po nating muli dito sa ating programa si Professor Butch Valdes, ang tagapagtatagpo ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, at ngayon po tumatakbo nga senador. Noong pong Friday, mga kababayan, ay palakpakan po muna natin si Professor Butch Valdes, di ba mga kababayan? sa kanyang pag-join dito sa ating programa. At nung pong Friday kasi ay siya isa rin po sa ating naging guest sa ating programang Election Pulse 2019 sa National Press Club, at marami pong makabuluhang mga bagay po tayong natutunan sa kanya, at kaya nga po kasama natin siya ngayon dito sa studio upang ma-elaborate po ang ilang mga mahalagang mga issue na gusto po nilang dalhin at ipaglaban sakaling palarin po sila sa Senado ngayong darating na halalan. It's your turn, Professor Butch Valdes.
Ay, magandang gabi. Umaga sa iyo, Paul.
Opo.
At ako'y very privileged na naimbita mo dito sa iyong very, very popular program. At isa pong karangalan. Also, mabati natin ang ating mga mamamayan this very bright Sunday. At
And by the way, Professor, we are being heard not only nationwide, no? Because Radyo Pilipinas lamang po may ganito kalaking pasilidad. In fact, sa lugar po ni Butch sa Batanes, tayo lang ang istasyon na radyo ron.
Talaga. Maganda yun.
Naririnig din po tayo sa buong ASEAN at saka kahit po ng ating mga malalaking OFW community sa labas po ng bansa.
I see. Very good. So milyon-milyon mga nakikinig ngayon sa atin, lalong-lalo na.
Po sa FB Live.
At nanonood.
Opo.
Okay, dahil po linggo ngayon at medyo nagpapahinga yung mga ating mga kababayan, at siguro tamang-tama naging kalakaran na lang nila na makinig kay Paul Gutierrez. No?
Opo.
So good morning to everybody.
Opo. Anong pong Friday medyo nabitin tayo kasi sa discussion na Prof, no? At pwede po ba i-elaborate po natin muli itong KDP? You were also correcting the impression na kayo ay taga-suporta ni Pangulong Duterte when ang sinasabi ninyo, no, we are supportive of President Duterte because he is the duly elected President of the country.
Yan po ay napaka-importante for all of us, no? If we call ourselves citizens, regardless of our political affiliation, no? We support the president as citizens of this republic, no? However, it doesn't syempre lalo na kung maganda yung ginagawa niya, di ganyan na rin katindi ang suporta, no? But in our case, we always qualify because we're not sponsored by the president. I don't know the president. And none of our real members are really close to the president or has ever met him. No, I don't know of anyone. But because we had seen what he had been doing these past 3 years, no, and we know the kind of problems the country has. Ang dami po natin mga problema, at he's doing his best and he's doing very well. He's in many different areas. Nandyan na po tayo sa tawag natin sa criminality, sa droga. Ginagawa siyang ehemplo ng mga iba-ibang leader sa buong mundo, no? Sa kanyang courage and sincerity to try and fix the situation. As a matter of fact, it is because of his work that President Trump has actually not only commended him in what he does, no, but suggested that there be an international summit against drugs. No? Because he considers the drug menace as a worse problem than terrorism.
Yes,
And
yes.
in many ways, I agree with the President Trump, and I'm sure nararamdaman na rin ni Presidente Duterte itong ano. So yung ginagawa siyang ehemplo, yung determination na pag nagkaroon po ng summit, maganda po yan. Kasi exchange of intelligence information ito. No? At masesarado po natin yung galaw. Katulad nito nga nakita natin, sabi natin galing sa Vietnam, ganyan. No? Kung po meron tayong international relationship ng mga iba-ibang bayan na mag-share ng information dito, maaagapan po natin siguro itong mga ganito.
Yes,
no?
yes. Oh.
Maaga pa.
Maaga
We
pa.
don't have to catch them. We can preempt that shipment. Hindi ba po? The other thing is, lalong-lalo na po sa drugs, hindi po gagalaw ang drugs internationally sa aking pong palagay kung walang tulong ang tinatawag nating commercial banking system.
Tama, oh.
Okay.
Oh, kasi paano yung pera? Alam nga namang isakay din nila sa barko yan, di ba?
Exactly. No? So, at ang pera, napakalaki, madali pong gamitin ng mga bangko at mga opisyal ng bangko. No? If you can bribe politicians, you can bribe banking officials, no, to turn their backs and fudge documents.
Naranasan natin yan na, di ba, Professor Butch, yung nangyaring scam sa Bangladesh.
Right.
Na dito pumasok sa atin yung pera, di ba?
Isa na yun.
At ang kawawang pobreng na din doon ay yung bank manager lang.
That's right.
Pero
no?
yung mga matataas na official po ay nakalusot.
Sa akin po palagay, wala pong papasok na dolyar dito, no, na hindi alam ng Central Bank o ng AMLAC.
Ng AMLAC,
No?
opo.
Pero yung AMLAC medyo nagugas ng kamay dito tungkol dito sa Bangladesh. But going back to the drugs thing, no? Ang ating PDEA, kung mabigyan pa natin sila ng more information, no? Siguro magandang mausisa din nila, no? Kasi sa aking pong crude computation, yung pong mga nahuhulian nilang drug manufacturing na over the past 3 years, na kung makikita mo yung mga sinerado nilang mga factory, ang total production nun is more than what 4 million addicts can consume.
Oh yes, oo.
So, meron tayong sobra na production, no?
Saan napupunta yun?
Yun ang tanong.
Yun agad ang tanong.
Saan napupunta? So, ang ating conclusion, it is being exported. If it is being exported, it will have to go through the
Banking system din.
banking system.
Oo, tama yung
And therefore,
observation
you
mo na
will
yan.
be fudging documents.
When you
Yan.
say fudging documents, para sa naman ng ating mga taga-ordinaryong mamamayang tagapakinig, pinepeke mo.
Pinepeke mo. Kunwari, nag-export ka kunwari ng furniture o ng garments, no? Pero ang totoo, ang ini-export mo, droga, no? Shabu, for example, no? Pagkatapos, siyempre, ikaw naman, Central Bank, pagbayaran na yan, in-export mo no? Siyempre, babalik ang bayad dyan. Paano babalik ang bayad?
Yes,
Hindi ba?
oo.
Pagpasok niyan, assuming papasok yan in dollars, no? Ang makikita ng AMLAC at saka ng Central Bank, ba't pumapasok itong dollars na ito on the basis of exported garments? Dapat, hindi naman tayo ganyang karaming garments ang minamanufacture.
In fact, patay na nga ang garment industry ng Pilipinas, di ba?
Sabihin natin, maski furniture. I-match mo lang yon, alam mo, meron discrepancy na.
Yes,
no?
yes.
Isa pa, ito pong tinatawag natin na foreign investment.
Oo.
Ito po tinatawag natin na foreign investment. Baka naman pagpasok nitong mga dolyar, na tawag natin foreign investment, napakadali po gumawa ng mga korporasyon sa labas, no? Ipasok mo doon yung drug money, no? Yung proceeds ng export. Tapos ipasok mo dito sa ating stock market.
Oo.
Na kunwari foreign investment.
Yes.
Tapos after 1 week, linabas mo na.
Oo.
Di nakapasok na.
Tama,
nakabalik na.
Professor.
So there are many ways. It takes a little bit of
Imagination actually,
imagination
no?
and
Oo.
a little accounting, a little finance to understand how this can be done. Kasi po kami, auditor kami. No? Yan
ganun
ang
ba?
background ko.
Okay.
As an auditor. As an auditor, you put yourself in the position of the culprit.
Yes, okay.
And look for ways how you're going to break the system. No?
Oo.
Dito ako natatakot no? Kanya po, sabi ko, naku, baka involved talaga ang banking system natin dito.
At yan may imbestigahan lamang pagka ikaw ay ang KDP ay naupo sa Senado. Yan ang sinasabi mo, di ba?
Isa sa mga bubuksan natin yan. No?
Yes. At by the way nga pala mga kababayan, ay kasama na rin po natin ngayon si ang ating veteranong miyembro ng National Press Club, si Boss Kamentong Laurel Kamentong.
Magandang umaga, Boss Paul.
Oo.
At kay Boss Valdes.
Tayo ng kaibigan si Mento.
Yes, alam mo, ito mga kababayan, nabanggit sa atin po ni Professor Butch na siya po ay isang auditor. Hindi naman po pala masama ang background nito. CPA, MBA, at sa De La Salle University po siya nagtapos ng pag-aaral at nag-master's degree din po sa AIM, Asian Institute of Management. Pero alam mo, Professor Butch, ang isang nakatawag pansin sa akin nung discussion natin on Friday, at alam kong gusto kong malaman ito ng ating lahat ng mga kababayan, Kamenton sa buong mundo, yung pong binabanggit ninyong problema natin unang-una sa kuryente.
Yes.
Hindi ba? At saka po itong ginawa nga pong pagwawalang yan ng mga oligarkiya dito po sa BNPP.
Right.
Hindi po ba? At nagulat ako, Kamentong, sapagkat sinasabi ni Professor Butch Valdes nung Friday. 3 years ago po pala, mga kababayan, ito baka nakalimutan na rin po ng ating Presidente Duterte. No? Mr. President, 3 years ago, si Professor Butch Valdes po pala ay nag-submit po sa inyo through Secretary Cusi, Alfonso Cusi, ng panukala paano po i-revive itong BNPP. Paano po maibababa ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas. Wala pong nangyari, mga kababayan, di ba? So, Professor, would you like to elaborate on that again? Nasaan na po yung report ninyo kay Alfonso Cusi?
Meron ako ditong kopya ng report na ibibigay ko sa ito pagkatapos ng programa.
Alam mo, salamat
Paul, no?
Kamentong. Magandang gawa ng magandang artikulo ito
Nakalagay, you can do an article, but nakalagay po dito at respeto lang sa aming mga miyembro.
Opo.
Confidential, not for publication nor distribution.
Ganun
no?
po ba? Pero okay.
You can do it.
Yes, kasi Professor, ang sa akin naman po, paano po malalaman ng ating mga kababayan
But
yan?
you can...
After 3 years,
Okay.
mabuti nga po, wala pang alikabok yung...
Alam niyo po, 3 years ago, kakapaupo lang po ng ating presidente, nagkaroon po ng IAEA conference dito, no? At minarapat nila na magsalita ako, one of the speakers. At nandun po
pasensya na po,
yung
Prof. Yung IAEA International Atomic Energy
Agency.
Ayun,
Itong ahensyang ito ay ang namamahala ng mga lahat ng itatayong nuclear power plants sa buong mundo.
Okay.
Sila ang parang authority.
Regulator, di ba? Regulator. Regulate sila.
Yeah. So, meron kailangan basbas nila, examine nila. Nung nag-isip si Presidente Marcos pumasok dyan, siguro kulang-kulang sa 6 na beses silang pabalik-balik dito, no? Para bigyan ng blessing itong construction ng Westinghouse sa atin. At tinayo natin yan. Tinayo natin yan for a amount of about $1.5 billion. No? Siyempre, tapos naabutan si Marcos ng EDSA. At bago talagang ipapaandar na yung nuclear power plant na yan, no?
Almost ready na ito mag-operate at that time, no?
Tapos 2 weeks nag-test run na siya, no?
Okay.
Nag-test run. Tapos, kung paano timing na ipinara nila itong nuclear power plant, nagkaroon ng EDSA. At pagpasok naman ni Corazon Aquino, sabi niya, no more. No? wag na natin paandarin yan. At sabi niya, dahil kay Marcos yan at kung ano pa.
Grab-ridden yan, di ba?
Grab-ridden,
Oo,
tapos pati itong mga ignoranting obispo, sabi niya, that is a monument to corruption. Yan. Pero ano pong nangyari sa atin, no? Yung kasabay niya, no, yung kasabay niyang nuclear power plant tinayo sa South Korea. Kakambal niya, pareho, no? Yung sa South Korea, pinaandar nila, no? Ngayon, ilan na ang nuclear power plant ng Korea? 22 nuclear power
22.
plants.
So basically, ang energy po ng South Korea ay nagre-rely sa nuclear power.
Substantially. Kanya dyan sila sumulong. They went fully industrialized country. And not only that, they are right now one of the world's biggest exporters of nuclear power plants.
Okay. Kasi yung technology, na-master na rin nila.
Na-master na. Tayo.
Nasaan tayo?
Kaisa-isa natin, hindi natin pinaandar hanggang ngayon. No? Umatras na tayo.
At Butch, magandang ipaalala sa taong bayan nito. Yung mga naihanda nating mga technical experts na Pilipino, lahat na-pirate na ng Japan at ibang mga bansa.
Pumunta na sa mga ibang nuclear.
At ang isang sinasabi mo dito, mga kababayan, sinasabi ni Professor Butch Valdes, na nangyari po dito sa atin, totoo rin naman po. Ngayon po, tayo pala may pinakamahal na kuryente sa buong mundo sapagkat ang ating nga pong industriya ng kuryente ay hawak na po ng mga ilang negosyante sa ating lipunan. Na-control na po nila lahat yan.
Yan.
Yan ang isang masama naging epekto nung wala tayong nuclear plant, ano?
Well, kasama na yan dahil ang plano pala talaga nila, no? Kaya ayaw nilang paandarin yan. Ang plano nila, itong mga oligarko at kasama na rin ang mga Aquino niyan sa pagpaplano. Kasama na rin ang mga Amerikano. Ang sabi nila na gusto nilang i-privatize ang buong power sector, no? At inumpisa nito ni Fidel Ramos. No? Nag-propose siya nitong pagtutulak ng tinatawag na EPIRA law. No? Yung EPIRA law, in short, ililipat mo lahat ng areas of the power sector, generation, transmission, and distribution of power sa pribado sektor. No? Tapos tayo, ang cost nitong mga ito, magbabayad tayo. Nung binigyan ni Ramos ng full guarantee, itong mga ito,
yung PPA na tinatawag, ano?
Power purchase agreements, no? Siyempre, ang napakadali, itong mga ito, mga oligarkong to, laway na lang. Pumunta sa international banks, sabi nila, walang talo to, government guarantee. Pahiram nyo kami ng pera, magtayo tayo ng
power plant.
Kasi meron kaming government guarantee. No? Hindi nuclear power plant,
power plant lang.
Power plant.
Yes, yung coal-fired,
so,
di ba?
Itong mga bangko, kung naman siguro napakataas na mga interest nila, lahat-lahat, kasi walang talo, guarantee. Pinataw nila dito sa buong power sector natin. Ito ang binigay sa private sector.
Yes.
Tapos yung lahat ng cost ng operations niyan, tsaka pinapasa sa consumer. Tayo yun.
Well, pinag-uusapan po natin nga itong ating problema sa kuryente kung saan hawak na po ngayon ng mga mayayaman, ng tinatawag po nating mga oligarkiya. Ito pong ating buong power industry, di ba?
Right.
Kaya siguro itong si Secretary Alfonso Cusi na-retain, no? Hindi ba siya lang ang isa sa mga carry-over secretaries mula sa Administrasyon Duterte? Because maaari...
Mula sa administrasyon dati...
Administrasyong Aquino, hindi ba katakataka yung Professor Bush na parang gustong i-assure nitong mga elitista, nitong mga oligarkiya na yung control nila sa pinakamalaking negosyo ngayon, no? Yun pong kuryente ay hawak ng bata nila. Anong tingin nyo doon?
Sa amin po pagsusuri, hindi naman masyadong malalim, pero nakita po namin na si Cusi, dating empleyado ng mga Aboitiz.
Yes, okay.
Pagkatapos, nagtrabaho din siya ngayon para kay Ramon Ang dito sa San Miguel.
No?
Din siyang mga trabaho sa kanila. Kanya ang iniisip ko, malapit sila dito sa mga oligarko. Yung pong sinasabi natin oligarko, hindi po lalampas ng mga 8 korporasyon yan eh. No? And right now, sinabi natin, mahal ang kuryente. Ito ang pinakamabigat na pinapasan ng mga pamilya natin, yung halaga ng kuryente. We are paying the highest electricity rates in the world. Hindi po yung
Right now, hindi
Southeast
po
Asia.
yung sinasabing
Hindi po yung
Southeast
Asia.
Asia. Hindi raw tayo second highest to Japan.
Hindi po. Yung pong Japan President sa Toshiba, nakapanayam ko last, a little over, almost a year ago, no? Nag-uusap kami, sabi niya, ang complaint ng mga hapon dito, yung halaga ng kuryente, no? Dito sa Pilipinas. Sa Japan, sabi niya, the Philippines is paying 20%, at least 20% higher than that of Japan. But for sure, we are paying double that of the United States. We are paying 24 US cents per kilowatt hour, where in the United States, they pay an average of 12 US cents per kilowatt hour. Doble po. So, lamakatuwid, ang Amerika, ang ordinary citizen earns about 30 times more than that of the ordinary citizen in the Philippines.
Yes, so
30
And
times
yet- and
po.
yet-
And yet, pagdating sa kuryente,
kalahati lang.
kalahati lang sila.
Oo.
Kanya ang kanilang burden sa kuryente sa Amerika, mga 3% lang ng kanilang kinikita. Pero tayo dito, umaabot po ng 25% ng kinikita natin. Hindi, wala pa dyan yung tubig, wala pa
Yes.
dyan yung upa. Ano po kakainin? Talagang maghihirap ang
Oo,
mga Pilipino.
Si kasamang Butch Valdes, unang-una, hindi lang professor, kundi Undersecretary of Education.
Yes, oo.
But itong ekonomista din si Kabutch,
Yes,
no?
oo,
And itong
oo.
mga public utilities na to, ang tinatawag na inelastic ang demand. Kailangan
Kailangan,
mabilhin. Kaya ito ay naging pinaka palabigasan nitong mga oligarchs, at mula doon sa kita dito, branch out sila sa control ng iba't ibang mga industriya
So,
natin.
pasok na sa
ito
tubig.
ito yung gustong ika nga ay labanan ng KDP, Professor.
Ang lalabanan po talaga natin yan, no? At tinihiling po natin sa Presidente, lalong-lalo sa kuryente, tigtunan niya ng pansin. May kita niya, palagay namin, susundan niya yung aming suggestion, mag-declare siya ng state of emergency on the power sector, suspend the EPIRA law, no? And grant initially across the board a 50% discount on all of our electricity bills, no? This is just initial. Ang prinsipyo po dito ay ganito. Ang public utilities, tubig, kuryente, healthcare, mass transit system at iba pa, telecommunication, ibinigay niya po yan, binigay po ng ating mga pamahalaan yung nakaraan bago si Duterte, sa pribado sektor.
Sa pribadong kamay.
This is a public utility. Ang public utility po must first benefit the public before anyone else. And the government is mandated, no, to take care of the public utilities because that is the only way he can protect the population. Ngayon, kung ipapamigay mo yan sa pribado sektor, wala ka ng kakayanan protektahin ang mga mamayang Pilipino, no? So because of this becomes an onerous and immoral law. Itong EPIRA, no? Kinakailangan na ihinto niya. Kung hindi, patuloy, alam mo, hindi natin masyadong nararamdaman siguro, pero ang halaga ng kuryente, ang impact niyan, halaga ng bilihin, halaga ng pagkain, halaga ng lahat, no? Pataas ng pataas. At pag nagtataas ka ng halaga ng kuryente, sigurado may porsyentong namamatay sa ating mga mamamayan sa hirap.
At yan ay trabaho. Lalong tumataas ang kuryente, lalong nagiging hadlang sa pagpapalaganap ng trabaho natin.
That's it. Kasi maski na sa pangangalakal, no?
Ang napapansin lang kasi gasolina eh.
Alam mo, isang may bankero tayo, rural bank na kaibigan, Senang Glorioso, kaklase ko sa Lasal. Sabi niya, isa-isang nauubos ang mga sari-sari store na kliyente ng bangko niya. Bakit? Pinapatay ng singil sa kuryente. Kasi
Oh.
yun lang ang tubo dapat nila eh.
Yes, yes, oh.
Imbis na tubo at magamit sa bahay at magamit sa tindahan, napupunta sa pagbayad sa kuryente.
Yan po mga kababayan. At binabanggit nga po ni Professor Butch, nung nga raw pong 2016, that's why hinihingi natin yung kopya sa kanya nung report nila, kamentong. Bagaman nga may nakalagay ditong confidential, not for publication or distribution. But I think it's already fair kasi 3 taon na po itong tinutulugan ni Alfonso Cusi.
Tama po. Siya ang humingi sa amin ng study
Siya ang
yan.
humingi nito.
Siya mismo, inatasan niya kami na maggawa ng study dahil dadali niya daw sa presidente at pagpunta nila sa Japan. Ang nangyari po, nung nabigay namin sa kanya sa deadline na yan, pumunta sila sa Japan, sa China. Pagbalik niya, humingi ako sa kanya ng appointment para itanong ano nang nangyari dito sa study na binigay namin. For about a year and a half, or now up to 2 years na, up to more than almost 3 years na, wala pa akong appointment kay Cusi. No? Ayaw niya akong bigyan. Ang hinihingi ko lang, sige, kung ayaw niyo ng appointment, you just acknowledge that you received this study. No? But yung acknowledgement na natanggap niya yung study dahil ito yung hiningi niya sa amin, ayaw niyang i-acknowledge. No? Kaya nagtataka ako, nakaabot ba to sa presidente? Nakaabot ba talaga to sa presidente? Kasi itong $8 billion na sinasabi nilang build, na galing sa China, ni isa, wala pong energy project.
Yes, yun nga ang nakakagulat doon, di ba, Kamento? Tayo natutuwa at lalapad ang ating mga karsada, di ba? Magkakaroon tayo ng mass transport system na sabi makabago, di ba? Mapaglilink natin ang mga isla ng Pilipinas. Pero yung tungkol po sa critical na ingredient sa pag-asenso, yung kuryente.
Pinaka-fundamental infrastructure.
Wala.
Yung isang naalala ko na kasama sa proposal ay yung rehabilitation ng Agos Pulangi. Hindi ko matiyak kung anong stage 7, 6, 7, 8 kasi lalakas ang hydroelectricity dyan eh. Pero tinututulan, sinisiraan as usual, yung mga Chinese projects sinisiraan. Doon sa Mindanao talagang malaki pang kapasidad ng hydroelectricity pero ayaw i-develop hanggat hindi mahawakan ng pribadong sektor yung buong Agos Pulangi.
At i-privatize. Kung napapansin po natin, ito pong kaliwada, di ba, talagang matindi po ang opposition dito.
Yung paninira.
Na wag nang matuloy ito.
Hindi na opposition ang tawag yan, paninira.
At ang mabigat pa rito, Professor Bush, lalo na po ito, ang issue ng Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Wala na po tayo halos nababasa dito.
Ay, paano? Sinusuppress nila. Pati na yung mga ibang mainstream media, sinusuppress nila yung news tungkol dyan. Alam niyo po, dumating dito yung mga South Korean scientists and engineers early part of 2017. At pinaaral ng presidente yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Ang conclusion nila, if you decide now, that thing will start within 12 to 18 months.
Sa termino pa ni Presidente? Ni Pangulong Duterte. Pwede na patakbuhin ito during his term.
If he decided now at maumpisahan ng trabaho. Tapos, hindi nagtagal, pumasok after about a month and a half, yun naman mga engineers tsaka scientists galing sa Russia, pinadala, iningi din ng Presidente kay President Putin. Dumating sila dito, 20 sila. 1 buwan at kalahati nilang pinag-aralan nitong Bataan Nuclear Power Plant natin. They had exactly the same conclusion as the South Koreans. If you decide now, it will cost you about $1 billion to rehabilitate it, and you will have this thing running between 12 to 18 months. Biro nyo. Tapos, sabi ng presidente kay Cusi, nasa dyaryo yan eh. I'm allotting $1 billion, get that thing running, no? Si Cusi, anong ginawa niya? Inupuan niya.
Hanggang ngayon, actually.
Hanggang ngayon. At hindi...
Baka kaya hindi makatayo doon sa kanyang
Hindi, kunwari, sabi, Mr. President, pag-aralan natin mabuti ito, mga safety. Actually, tapos na yun eh. No? Wala nang talaga kailangan katakutan dyan eh. Pero ano ang pumipigil dyan? Ang mga oligarko. Bakit? Pag umandar itong nuclear power plant, pag-aari ito ng gobyerno eh.
Oo.
No? At isinama mo sa grid dahil napakamura ng kuryenteng ibibigay nito. No? Hihilain niya yung presyo ng kuryente na pababa.
Oo.
Ayaw ng oligarko to.
Yun nga pala, oo.
Well, by the way, I'd like to add na isa sa nanguna talaga sa pagpapaliwanag nitong mga problema sa privatization ng kuryente ay yung grupo ni Butch Valdes, no? Yung LaRouche movement. At paliwanag din, 1995 pa. 1992 pa, sinasabi na po na masama ito. Kaya at that time, tinututulan na ni Butch at kasama din kami sa sulod ng bilo. Kasi katatext lang ni Nani, no? Na pinapaalala niya na ito ay pinag-uusapan namin sa sulod ng Pilipino noon pa sa radio program din. At yung Omnibus Power Bill, tinututulan na ni Butch, no? At yung mga grupo. At isang importanteng mabanggit, yung pagkansela ng Bataan Nuclear Power Plant ay nag-iwan ng mga 600 megawatt na kuryenteng planado na noong panahon ni Marcos. Kaya yun ay nabigyan ng dahilan. Remember, ang inappoint ni Cory Aquino sa National Power Corporation, sino? Boss ni Cusi. Aboitiz.
Si Aboitiz.
Yes.
Naalala mo?
Yes, oo.
At nung nag-take over si Aboitiz, nagkaroon ng
Sandamakmak na ano?
Blackout talaga. I was looking for a exact word for it. Devastating crisis. Ano ang pinakamalaking ang kumpanyang pinakamalaking importer ng generator?
Aboitiz
and Company.
Teka, pero bago na mga kababayan ay pagbigyan ulit natin itong ating mga nagre-react, no? Kay Leti Salvador Arcilla. Ngayon lang ako bumilip sa gobyerno ng maupong Pangulong Duterte. Maayos at kapani-paniwala ang lahat ng balita. Isipin ninyo mga kababayan, kahit po dito nung panahon ni Noynoy, hindi po natin pwede pag-usapan ng ganitong issue rito sa Radyo Pilipinas. At baka po tayo sugurin dito ng ating manager. Sabi rin, tigilan ninyo yan. Hindi po pwede yan. Pero kita naman po ninyo, demokrasya binibigay po sa atin ng gobyerno Duterte. Kay Freddy Gredina, tinatalinuhan ko na pagboto. Smartmatic ang nagbilang, Comelec namili ng pipiliin natin. Oligarch ang may pera para sa kandidato, kaya lahat ng kamay politiko nasa bulsa ng oligarch. Freddy of Calamba. Happy Honorio Henry, watching from Queensland, Australia. Freddy Oridena, desalination plant by running Bataan nuclear power plant to answer for power and water crisis.
That's right.
According to Professor Butch Valdes from Freddy of Calamba.
Yes.
Napakinggan po ninyo yung bahagi po ng panayam ni Paul Gutierrez, ang dati pong Pangulo ng National Press Club, pero ngayon po ay siya na po ngayon ang kalihim o secretary po ng National Press Club. At kinakailangan po tayo magbasa ng ilang mga comment, so it's time to read the text messages or comment sent by our listeners and viewers. Their opinion does not necessarily reflect our own, but we reserve the right to read them to the public in the interest of freedom of speech. So magbabasa lamang po tayo ng ilang mga text message. By the way, it's 8:49 na po, Philippine Standard Time. Okay, so dali po. Medyo hindi po natin masyadong makita ang text. Okay, mula kay Cesar Soberano, ipagpatuloy Ma'am Cathy at mga katipon ang advokasya at adhikain ng KDP. The KDP will continue to pursue its noble mission toward a progressive, independent Philippines. Tama po kayo, Mang Cesar Soberano. At nandiyan naman po si Itos Valdes upang ipagpatuloy po ang atin pong KDP. At mula kay Freddy Uridina, missing his voice and the way how he explains the topic at hand. Totoo yan, Freddy. At ganun din po ang pakiramdam ko. At mula syempre kay Ted Calasanz, you will be missed, my friend. Yan. At mula kay Rosana Bilog, mapagpalang gabi po Ma'am Cathy, Cruz at Sir Itos Valdes. Sa pangalan nila Chairman Butch Valdes at sa ating Katipunan, keep safe po. Good evening po Sir Johnny. Yan. And mula kay Steve Yu, hello, condolence po kay Sir Butch Valdes. Mula kay Liborio Cordero, good evening Ma'am Cathy. Dati sila Sir Butch at Kalemi Rojas pa sa radio ko napapakinggan regarding DNPP. Sana mag-operate na. Ako rin po nananalangin. Sir Butch Valdes, economist, senatorial, presidential, mabuhay ang KDP Save the Nation Movement, legacy of Chairman Antonio Valdes. And mula kay Miss Antrope, good evening, Miss Cathy and Sir Itos. I'm sorry for your loss. I miss hearing Sir Butch insights. Mula kay Dorce de Lasan, sila lang ang yumayaman, ang taong bayan ang naghihirap at walang investors ang nag-invest. Lahat umaalis o nag-aalisan siguro to. Dapat ngayon gawaan na ng paraan. Mula kay Algo, we will miss you, sir, your dreams. Marlon Jeronimo, yan, sabi niya, we miss you so much, Sir Butch. At sabi ni Luis Gerald, ang napakasipag na katuwang natin dito sa KDP, good evening po sa inyo, Miss Kat. And this is really the first broadcast without Sir Butch. And nakakalungkot po talaga na wala na siya, and it does not mean na tapos na ang boxing para sa partidong ito. Tama ka dyan. Tuloy lang po ang laban, kaya #fighting pa rin para sa ating mga Pilipino, lalo na po ang bansa natin. I know this is really a sad new year for the whole KDP family and masakit talaga na iniwan na tayo ng isang patriotiko and renaissance man who fought for the forgotten Filipinos, especially for our nation. Bagamat natapos na ang laban niya dito sa lupa, tuloy pa rin ang inyong paninindigan para sa katotohanan ng ating inang bayan. God bless. Yes, Luis, patuloy pa rin tayo. Yan ang ating pangako kay Professor Butch. At mula kay Anazita Neri, thumbs up, we miss you, Sir Butch. Humanap po sa GC. Meron siyang sinasabi, sana hindi totoo to. Sa darating na buwan, big possibility by March, total lockdown kasama banking system and all establishments, that will be the 30 day of darkness for humanity. Kaya minamadali nila ang SIM card registration dahil sa cashless plan ng mga cabal elites. Total control na talaga, at kapag hindi tayo kumilos, we will remain as slaves forever. Kaya naisabatas na ang proposed HB, House Bill 6522. Wala na tayong babalikan na normal na buhay. The cabal is working fast to depopulate humans. Si PBBM, hindi para sa tao ang galaw niya. Kontrolado na siya ng WEF at cabal elites. Nakasalang na sa Senado ang House Bill 6522 at ito na ang magkokontrol sa lahat ng taong bayan. General Anyo as NSA, General Galvez in DND, General Centeno in AFP. Lahat sila ang nagtulak ng lockdown panahon ni Digong. At now, ibinalik silang lahat sa pwesto. Oy, please reshare. Mga kapatid sa pananampalataya sa ating Panginoong Diyos na nasa langit, share ko lang po itong mahalagang mensahe sa lahat. Makinig ang may pandinig. Share it. Mula pa rin kay Jet De Jesus, it's quote-unquote, it's the right thing to do. We have to try to do it if we call ourselves citizen. Despite the fact that it's going to be difficult, we're going to have to do it as a matter of duty. Mula kay Sir Butch Valdes yan. Kinuha niya kanina sa unang alagwa, o yung unang interview mula kay Titi. At mula kay Algo, Jet, who can replace said man? Yan. Of course, si Itos. At sabi ni Jet De Jesus, I know we should honor his memory by trying to be better citizens and support his cause and ideas. Ideas don't die, eventually they will be heard. Right. At mula kay Algo, his son could follow his footsteps for this nation's future. Tama ka, Algo. Katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, yan ay talagang Si Itos po ang ating pong makakasama sa palatuntunang ito at siya rin po ang mangunguna ngayon sa ating national political party na Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino at maging actually noon pa naman kasama na po si Itos Valdes sa LaRouche, no? Sa Philippine LaRouche Society sa Save the Nation. Kasama na po yan. Kaya po alalahanin po natin, tulungan po natin ang ating pong kasama na si Itos Valdes. Kaya abangan po natin yung mga susunod na mga palatuntunan po rito sa ang ating Katipunan. Anyway, it's 8:56 na po at gusto ko lang din sigurong bigyan ng pagkakataon, no, na ika nga ay bigyan lang po ng pagbati yung iba po nating mga masugid na taga-subaybay. May nag-text lang po sa akin yung mga patuloy po raw na nangangalaga ng Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, lalo na sina Ray Punsalan at iba pang mga taga-Napocor po. At yung mga taga-Bagak at nagbalayong sa Bataan na nagtatrabaho po sa Penelco at Bagak Rural Bank ay nakikidalamhati po. Mula pa rin kay Wilbert Lamarca na Komisyon ng Wikang Pilipino, yan, humihingi po ng nakikidalamhati rin po sa pamilya ni Professor Butch. Ang, of course, si Miss Ying Bonilla ng GAR Employees Foundation. Magandang gabi po sa inyo. At kay Fred Habon sa Pleasant Hills, San Jose del Monte, no? Talagang ipinahiwatig din po niya ang pakikidalamhati sa pagkamatay po ni Professor Butch. Sa lahat po ng ating mga regional and provincial presidents, actually tumawag pa sa akin yung isa sa mga pangulo, no, ng irrigators, sa isa sa mga pangulo po ng National Confederation of Irrigators Association na si Kadante, no, Lazatin, ay nakikiramay din po sa pamilya ni Professor Butch. At marami pa po tayong iba pang mga kasama, yung mga kasama po natin mula sa grupo po ng mga babaeng enhinyero, yan, lalo na kay Star, kay Engineer Jane Tapel, sa lahat po ng sambayan ng Pilipino, katulad po nung lagi pong sinasabi sa atin ni Professor Butch, patuloy po tayong manindigan sa katotohanan, patuloy po tayong, wag po tayong mawala ng pag-asa. We have to move forward. Wag po nating kalilimutan ang mga ideya at prinsipyong patuloy pong ipinapahiwatig po sa atin ni Professor Butch. Anyway, sa ngalan po ng pamunuan po ng ating Katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DZXL Radio Mo Nationwide, kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan ninyo kami ngayon, ang hora de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo, dito sa ating Katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli mga katipon, alas 7 hanggang alas 9 po ng gabi. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.